was wondering if you can do oil change for this. Thanks.
Okay, we'll be changing the oil and the filter in this Ford Mondeo Mk3. The oil in this car is a bit old, it's a bit black, definitely needs doing. You will need oil, axle stands or some other way of getting the front of the car up so you can work underneath it, an oil pan tray so you can catch the old oil, and a funnel to put the new oil in. Now the oil to be used is, the Ford specification is 5W30 semi-synthetic, or of course you can use full synthetic, which is a bit more expensive. You also need a new oil filter, of course. The one shown here is the cartridge filter for the Mondeo that takes the cartridge. Some Mondeos take a spin-on type, so you need to check yours and see which it is that you need. It will be one or the other. First thing we're going to do, obviously, is jack the car up. In this case, I'm using a floor jack and axle stands. Whatever you do, make sure the car is rock solid and stable because you will be working underneath it and you do not want it to fall on you. Now just take a quick look at the two relevant components of the engine that you need to be working with to change the oil. First is the filter. Again, this is the cartridge type, so it's inside that housing which you can see there. And the second element is the oil sump drain plug, which is at the back of the sump. So once the car's jacked up, we can go straight ahead and drain the old oil. We need a socket wrench with a 15mm for this car anyway, 15mm socket head. Go ahead and start to undo the drain plug. It's best at this point, by the way, if the engine oil is slightly warm, not hot, but if you've last run the engine up to temperature, maybe a few hours earlier would be ideal. You don't want it stone cold because then it won't drain as nicely. Once the sump is done draining, you can remove the oil filter. With the cartridge in the housing version, there is a mini drain plug at the bottom of the housing which you need to remove with an Allen key first. That will drain oil from the housing, and then you can remove the housing itself without getting oil everywhere. Now to get the filter itself off, you need to possibly use a oil filter wrench. You may not need to, but if it's on tight, it can be helpful. In this case, it was very tight. Took a bit of effort. And this is the same whether you have a cartridge type or a spin-on type, same story. Then the next step applies only to the cartridge filter type. You need to remove the O-ring seals. There are two of them. There's one on the little mini drain plug, and there is the larger one which goes around the perimeter of the filter itself. Your new oil filter should have come with both of these replacements. One thing you should do is dip your finger into a little bit of oil and just run it around the surface of the O-ring. This is so as to ensure a good seal when you put things back together. Now you can screw the new filter onto the engine. Very simple. Do it up only hand tight. You don't use the wrench to over tighten it. There's no need whatsoever. Give everything a clean. If you have any oil leaks after all this is done, you want to be able to see where the oil's coming from. And obviously if you're using the cartridge version, you need to reinstall the mini drain plug. And then you can put the sump drain plug back in. You need to use a tool to tighten this. Do not over tighten it. Remember that you're putting a steel bolt into an aluminium housing, and over tightening it will cause bad things to happen. All that's left now is the easy part. You just pour the new oil into the engine. Use the funnel, obviously. The 2-litre Mondeo Duratec engine takes about 4.5 litres of oil, so you'll need a 5-litre bottle, which is normal. You'll have a bit left over. Check the level on the dipstick. Run the engine for a few minutes maybe and check that you don't have any leaks. After that, all you need to do is go for a drive and take the old oil and dispose of it in an environmentally friendly way. Most auto shops have bins outside them for that purpose. And then you're done.